Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I'm your main host for tonight, Brewer, and I am joined by my fellow co-host, Connor.
Hello, everyone.
So, Connor, how have you been, my good man? What's been up with you lately?
Nothing much. I've just been hanging out and stuff like that. But I actually had a question for you.
Oh, what's up?
Are you any good with computers?
I'm all right with them, but it depends. What's the issue?
I was the strange software popped up on my computer a bit ago, I think this morning.
That sounds like some kind of virus. You should probably just delete it.
Well, that's what I thought too, but it opened itself and it looked like some kind of video game.
What?
Yeah, and the system keeps telling me not to close it or else everyone in the game dies.
Connor, you aren't pranking me, right?
No, I'm serious. Come take a look yourself if you want to see it for yourself, I guess.
Okay, fine. What? Oh shit! You're right, Connor. For once, you weren't trying to gaslight me.
That's Guy's thing, not mine. I would never gaslight a friend.
Okay, that aside, what should we do about the game?
I mean, I feel like I guess we just play it and see if anything happens if we beat it. But we should be careful though, because we only have one shot.
All right, everybody, and with a little intro over, that is our cue to transition to our main topic tonight. The little game released about a decade ago, Oneshot, a game that you have one shot at beating. And this is a game that I discovered a little over half a year ago, and its concept really intrigued me. And I played through it, and I absolutely loved its story, its characters, its world. Connor, what about you?
I really enjoyed it too. Again, as you said, the characters and world were really good. I know you enjoyed it because you're literally the one who gifted it to me for me to play, because you thought I'd enjoy it too, and I did enjoy it.
One of my best decisions.
Truly. And I think it's probably definitely one of the better indie games that I've played, and I've played a good chunk of them.
Oh yeah, it's a very unique one. I guess for the audience, I should explain the game a little bit. So, as I mentioned before, Oneshot was a game released 10 years ago. It was a RPGmaker game that was originally just a free game, and its concept from the start is that you only had one shot at beating it. So if you opened it up and you clicked at X to exit it out, when you tried to come back to it, the main character of the game, Nico, he would be dead because you killed him because you only had one shot. It was a very neat concept for a game, especially for one on such a simple engine like RPGmaker. And I think they did a lot with the concept, and it still, as a game, wasn't too big to the point where it asking you to do it in one shot was ridiculous, because the original game took a couple hours to beat, and even the revamped remake version is still just a good couple 4.5 hours maybe.
Yeah, it's not long at all.
But yeah, the story of the game is that you have to guide this little child named Nico, who's this little cat boy or something.
Are they a guy?
I'm never really sure. I think Nico's a boy.
I think it's supposed to be just ambiguous, sort of like a Frisk from Undertale.
Maybe. And well, the cat thing's ambiguous too, because Nico says a couple times, "I'm not a cat. I'm just have whiskers like a cat. I have ears like a cat." Well, I guess that could be his hat. Either way,
I'm not a cat, even though every single part of my body resembles a cat.
I'm not a cat. I just eat cat food.
Yeah, I just do everything that a cat does, but I'm not a cat.
Fucking people accusing me of being a cat. Now, if you mind me, I'm gonna go to my litter box now.
I'm starting to see a lot of similarities between Nico and Morgana.
Yeah, let's not think about that too much. But either way, you have to guide Nico through the world, and he is the Messiah of the world, and his mission is to restore the light in a dying, dark world with just the last sun that he holds in his hand. It's a light bulb, but he has to adventure to eventually restore the light in the world, and you have to guide him through it. But your journey is never going to be that simple, because along the way there's going to be a lot of consequences, tough choices, and Nico and the world itself knows you as a player exist. So take that as you will. There's a lot of surprises in store for the game because of that aspect.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the better sort of portion. That's like one of the. I think that's what makes the game very unique, is the sort of implementation. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
Um,
implementation.
yeah, of you, the player, being a uh, piece of the story.
Yeah,
Because
I've seen
uh,
it done before, but
yeah,
One Shot I think is definitely my favorite attempt at like making you the player an actual part of the story. Like not as like you're the main protagonist of the game. Like you don't play as Nico.
you just
It's
sort of
kind
like
of like in The Legend of Zelda, if instead of playing as Link, you were an outsider watching Link and trying to give him advice while he himself was doing his own thing.
exactly.
It's just a very interesting setup for the story. I think that they expanded upon greatly.
Yeah, it's very like it does it the like in-game explanation for it can be a little like confusing on a first playthrough, but I think the game explains it well and it does make sense.
Yeah, since we don't want to mention too much about it, because it is a very story focused game, so we would highly recommend you play it for yourself at some point. Because again, it's only like 4.5 hours. You can easily get it on Steam, and it is a fantastic experience. It's definitely one of my favorites, especially for an indie game.
Yeah, I think to go another thing that I really enjoyed about the fourth wall sort of stuff is that, at least for me, it got me a lot more invested within the story and characters.
Ooh,
Because
yeah, definitely.
yeah, because it's like, if you yourself are a player, like when Nico will like talk to you and stuff like that, there's a bunch of those moments within the game, and so
Yeah,
you
Nico is a great protagonist because like he's just a confused child, but he has this optimism to him that the rest of the world doesn't have because it's been dying out for decades. But he has this optimism in his eyes and this energy he brings around to everyone around him.
and his cat eyes.
Yes, his cat eyes. Even in the darkest rooms, you still see his cat eyes. He's staring into your soul.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love the characters of One Shot because I got attached to like almost every single one of them, even the minor characters in some way, which really makes it to where like, yeah, you do not want to click that X button and kill all of them, but it also makes some of the decisions later in the game a lot more difficult and emotionally wrenching on you as a
yeah,
player compared to just watching the story. You're a part of it, but you only have so much control over it.
yeah. I think this game does that really well with those like certain hard choices, because, again, for a game that's only like, if we're being generous, like 5 hours max long, probably.
Yeah, at least for just one playthrough.
Yeah, it really knows how to get you connected to the characters and the world within the game, even though, like, with all intents and purposes, like, it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah,
you get attached so quickly to Nico because they're adorable, they are pretty funny. There's just so many great moments with them.
yeah. There's a lot of charm to the characters. I think before we go too deep into that, though, I do want to mention some of the smaller gameplay aspects of One Shot
Yeah,
because even that can be unique in itself as well. Because in the original game, it was an RPGmaker game, so they were kind of limited on what they could do, and it was made for just like a little contest. I think if I remember correctly. But in the updated version, uh, some of the puzzles are the same, but they've expanded upon them.
Yeah.
Usually, you have a lot of items that you pick up around the world, and they're just really intuitive puzzles. Is what I love. There's something that you don't get confused on, like maybe an obscure message just trying to tell you, or like having to like turn something upside down, think about it in a different way. You see stuff around you in the world that needs fixing, or like easy example, you want to light a fire. It's one of the first puzzles you do. You find a stick, and then you find a little bit of oil, and you can combine items to make a new item. So you combine those to make a stick with oil, and then you see like a broken CRT that has a spark emitting out of it. Which, for those of you who don't know, please never open a CRT. They are very fucking dangerous because that little spark lights a fire on the stick, and then you can use that stick that has a fire on it to light the fireplace, which gives you more light in the room so you can see.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the tutorial area, like the small little tutorial you get at the beginning of the game, is really good at like sort of setting the like, you know, the gameplay of like what you're gonna have to do and the different puzzle solving.
Yeah, definitely. That and like some of the lighter puzzles too, even ones that like only make sense in the world itself with its own lore, because One Shot has a very deep lore if you delve into it far enough.
I
But
love indie games with deep lore. They're my favorite.
I love lore exploring for hours and hours on end.
I could probably, if you actually want like any semblance of how much I love that stuff, I could probably like probably talk about the entire current Deltarune lore from memory.
If me and Guy had like a full Elden Ring video on like lore, we could probably talk for a straight like 5 hours and still not cover everything that we think about the game.
Exactly.
We like some lore. But yeah,
Yes.
another thing I like with the lore and the puzzles is for the in-game stuff itself, you can usually find notes or like old books that kind of explain some stuff in the world, which you can use that information to like help with the puzzle. So like you fix some robots by like there's a certain type of battery. It works with a couple different parts, so like you got to kind of source some parts out to like restore this battery. So it's not just easy as like just putting some double A's in there. You got to think like, okay, it needs this specific part in it. What can I salvage around me? Oh, it uses this one type of element that's only in this world. Okay, where can I get some of that? And then it keeps expanding upon those aspects to just make a puzzle that you get really invested in and feels satisfying to complete.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Speaking of the like world though, I think the different areas are some of my favorites in well, not, hold on, I'm going to rephrase that. I think the 3 areas are really great areas for the game.
Yeah,
You got, because each one is a completely different like area, but you can understand how they're, you know, connected to each other. The first area is like a sort of barren wasteland where there's like no life at all except for like a few robots that are littered around, which even then, those aren't technically life because it's not natural life. And then the second area is a complete sort of opposite of that, and it's a very lush green forest, and you can find a bunch of like bird people and different sort of things like that just around in little villages and stuff like that. And then the third area is even further deviating from that, and it's this giant like sprawling city with a bunch of different characters and people that are just around. It's really cool. It's a really cool sort of progression of the world, and I think it's a really well done.
Oh yeah, especially because like One Shot has like such a pretty art direction. Like
Oh my god,
anytime you would go to a new area, you would get these like beautiful shots and like hand drawn like pictures that just like looked absolutely stunning with the effects they put on them.
exactly.
Because like I love the world design a big part of that being just because of the art direction itself.
Oh,
Like just because of how pretty everything looked. Like the sprites look great. They're animated very good. Nah, I can't speak right now. And then they have like full CG prints too of just like in a lot of important cutscenes and moments that really just get you invested in the world. And then the music as well, like that city area, the music that's playing right now on Little Cat Feet is from that city. I just really love that. The
it's
vibe it gives you.
yeah. One Shot has like the again. I can't speak of how great the art direction is, because again, it's very. Well, I'm not gonna say simple sprite work, but it's not like uh, God of War or anything with super realistic graphics and different facial animations and stuff. It's just a bunch of sprites and stuff, but they're all beautifully animated. Each sprite has so much character in just like the little portraits and the
Yeah,
different
I love the
environments.
portrait work they did because it added so much life to the characters, even without those being animated. Just the little different expressions they have.
Exactly. Like I really like the sprite work and just the different environments and how all of those interact. I think it's great.
Yeah, especially Nico's portraits because he can be sad, he can be angry, but a lot of times like he's exploring this world the same as you for the first time ever. So he just a lot of times will have this like amazed look on his face. It's just precious. Nico's just precious.
Yeah, Nico very cute, very precious little
Nico deserves all the pancakes that he loves because he
cat.
loves pancakes.
Yeah, it it's such a very wholesome game, and that's something I really like about it. It's so wholesome, even
The thing
though
I love too, it's wholesome, but it knows when to be serious. Like
yeah,
it can
exactly.
swap the tone very quickly. It does a good job in the little time it has at balancing out like the wholesome moments with the characters, with also the reality of like it is a dying world and you are the last hope. These people have been struggling for a very long time to get by, and like that's a part of the reason I love the characters so much. Some of them just feel so honest. Like there's the lamplighter that's just he's a good, hardworking young man that's trying to do his best to like keep the lamps lit for everybody so they can actually, see. And like he actually gets antsy too when he isn't able to work because he knows that it will affect people around him.
Yeah,
There's a cafe worker named Wing that like she's only in the game for like a very short portion, like a couple minutes. But that character sees Nico come in. He, due to a story event, he's very sad, and she tries to cheer him up by talking to him, going through about his issues, and even making his like favorite dish, pancakes, which perks him right up because, as we established, Nico loves pancake.
Nico love pancake. Yeah, I completely love all the characters. Even some of the more minor characters are great. The little like robot that controls the boat in the first area, like I think he's really cute and funny. You've
Oh yeah,
the two bird people in
Calamus and Alula,
yeah, Lula and Calamus. I thought it was Calamus, but
or
um
I think it's Calamus. Yeah,
yeah, those two. I think those two are great. I think again that it's I don't want to make a comparison to Undertale
Connor,
because
try not to talk about Undertale challenge.
I think
Impossible.
I know, but I think it's warranted here because both of these games do a very good thing of making very minor characters feel like completely full of personality and flavor. That and like I think that's something both of these games do in spades. Like some of the
Yeah.
yeah, again, as I said, some of the minor characters in this game are great. There's the one in the city you run into this library worker. They're very funny, and I enjoyed every line from them because they were just, again, they were just super funny.
Yeah, One Shot does have some good comedy to break up the serious moments.
Exactly. I really like it. And
Oh yeah. And again, I just love how down to earth a lot of the characters are.
Yeah, for you know, something I also really like about it is, for those wondering, Nico is, we don't know the specific age, but they're very much a child, and there are a lot of times where people are like, yeah, we're sorry this had to happen to you because you're just a kid and you have the entire weight of the world on your shoulders. And I think it's a very cool concept because
Yeah. Dude, imagine being 8 years old and someone calls you the Messiah.
yeah, I know.
You only have one chance, small child. You must save the world. Pancake. No, that doesn't matter. You gotta save the world or we're all doomed to die.
Yeah, it's really like intense, and like there are a bunch of moments in the game where that just remind you of like, yeah, Nico's just a kid. Like this is just so much for them. And there's a specific moment I'm thinking of, but we're not going to say that because of spoilers.
Yeah, there are just a couple small moments too where like you are reminded of like he is away from his family. He doesn't know where he is, because there are a couple little dream sequences every now and then where like you'll see Nico and kind of his like previous world, to where like he just, a lot of times he'll be a little teary-eyed because he misses like his mom.
Yeah, something else. Yeah, I think we should actually talk about this. As Brewer said before, it was an Itch.io game, and so again, you could only beat it in one shot, or else everything went bad, very bad.
Oh yeah, no, Nico would fucking die.
But in the Steam version of the game, there are these little save points around,
yeah,
where you can sort of have Nico rest and then close out the game if you need a break.
Well, the way it actually works, that's a forced shutdown to save the game, but in the Steam version, if you close the window, unlike the original game, it just saves it and brings it back. But what I do love about it is, when they brought it to Steam, it is a product you have to pay for versus like freeware. So it is understandable they had to change up the original game some so that it would work as a paid product.
Because imagine if like your computer dies or something like that happens, and then a game you did pay money for, not a lot of money, but you did pay money for it, and then it just gets thrown all away because of something.
Yeah, because
it's completely understandable why they changed it back to not be one shot.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, because in the free version of the game, that wasn't even as long as the new one. Like, if like power cut out to your PC and the game shut down, that does really suck. But there's ways around it. There always is. Whether that be like a patch someone could put on the game, or like just having a separate old laptop, maybe, because the game does not take that much to run. It can run on literally fucking anything.
Yeah,
you could run it on a potato probably.
If a Mac can run it on Steam, then it can run on anything.
Oh yeah, definitely, because Macs can't run shit on Steam half the time.
I can't even run Half-Life on Steam on my Mac. It sucks.
And that's crazy, because some people have ported Half-Life to the 3DS. A powerful Mac cannot run Half-Life, while my 3DS from over a decade ago can run Half-Life, even if it's not the best version of Half-Life to play.
Yeah, it's the conversation for Mac and Steam cooperation is a conversation for another time.
Oh yeah. I will note though, like what we were talking about with the differences in the versions.
Yeah,
like, again, the one-shot message was changed, but they still kept it intact in a really, what's the best way to say this? In a really unique way, because I obviously can't say everything they did for spoiler reasons, but you have the ability as a player to play it again, but there are consequences depending on how you play the game, because towards the end you have a lot of very important choices, and in the original you only had one shot, so you were just kind of left to whatever ending you got, because there are multiple endings. You would just have to sit with that. But if you want to see another ending, you can do that, but some things are just not going to be the same with the world.
Yeah,
because of that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that is something I love, that like you still technically only have one shot, because that original playthrough of yours can never be altered. Any playthrough after that as well can also never be altered, because at least in the lore of the world itself, those are just like kind of separate instances of the world. They can never happen again, because
Yeah,
that's just how time flows. You can't just keep reliving the past. You got to keep going.
yeah, exactly. But as we were going about the different versions as well, we should probably talk about the console version for a bit.
Yeah, I do. Well, I think with the console version, I do also want to mention, like we mentioned before, fourth wall breaking. I do want to get a little bit into that because it's a very cool aspect of the game, and I'll explain why you should probably stay away from the console version. It's
This
not a
isn't
bad
even
version at
really,
all,
this isn't
but
even really an elitism thing. I just feel like the PC version is just the better way to
yeah,
experience the story
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Because a little explanation for the fourth wall breaking. One shot, I will say, broke the fourth wall better than Undertale ever did. Because like,
Oh no, I
along with the
agree.
concept of a save file, you also have to look through your files, and like they did this over a decade ago through like a simple RPGmaker engine. It will actually add files to your PC that you need to look through to complete some puzzles, which is just absolutely amazing because it's crazy to figure those out when you're like just looking through files, finding answers, maybe dragging some stuff around to figure stuff out. But
Yeah,
like it's an experience. Like it's one of those things I wish I could like if I lost my memory, I would play this game again, because
exactly. Because
it's not something I could ever experience again,
it's
and it
such,
would never be the same. Which
yeah,
that's why you got one shot.
it's such a cool way to do that gameplay because like, it feels so surreal at points because it's like no other game I feel like has ever done that where you have to. I mean, obviously, some like indie games will hide lore secrets in the files, but never have made it like. Very few have made it an actual like core gameplay
Yeah,
like piece of like having to dig through your computer's files in order to progress. And I think it's a really cool way to do it.
yeah. There's only a couple I can think of off the top of my head. Like Inscription did a really good job with that.
Yeah,
Haven't actually used that for some battles. There's obviously Undertale, which like I feel like kind of popularized that fourth wall breaking aspects that we're talking about. And then like one shot though, I felt like it was the OG. It probably wasn't the first one to do it, but like it did such a great job at it, and like I loved it everywhere through because like we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg with what you have to do for some of the puzzles in the game with the fourth wall breaking. Because towards the end they have some really cool and complex puzzles that you have to solve, not
yeah,
by end game stuff, but you as a player have to help Nico by doing stuff that only you can do on your computer
yeah.
that Nico can't do.
I really wish we could talk about it, but it's very. This game is very story heavy, and so that's why we're avoiding spoilers because this game deserves to be played blind.
Yeah.
That's how I played it, and I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, because we want you, the audience, to go and play this game at some point. It's very cheap on Steam, and you should play it through whatever method you could. But I will say this: we did mention the console version has its issues, and it's not like without a way it runs. It's just through those fourth wall break aspects that we mentioned. One Shot was very much designed to be played on PC with just your own operating system. When they ported it to console, there is some stuff that's lost with it because what they do, and I've checked out the console version myself. I have it on PS4. Is you get basically your own PC that boots up on console, and that boots up One Shot as a game. But I feel like going through a fake PC on console to dig through files and stuff versus like on like Windows or Mac OS, like going through your own computer to figure out the puzzles, especially with like how the game's formatted, it makes for a much cleaner experience. I still appreciate all the work that the devs did, for the console versions, because obviously there was no other way they really could have done it other than just not porting the game at all. But I would say only play the console versions if that is your only way of playing it. If you can, and you have the choice, 100% of the time play it on PC, unless if you want to do a repeat playthrough. Because while there is a lot of cool content in the console version that they added, like little cool lore dumps on characters, like profiles and stuff, a little music player, cool artwork and backgrounds you can look through, it's still not the same as playing through the PC version.
I agree. I really think that at least for a first playthrough, you should try and play it on PC.
Yeah, because again, even on a Mac, it can run.
Here, I'm actually gonna look at my Steam library right now, so I can sort of show what all I can and cannot play.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of games you can't play on that thing.
So
they look really simple.
Yeah, so the only games that I have on my library that I can play right now are Deltarune Chapter 1 and 2, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Oneshot, and Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And I'm just gonna list all the other games I have. I have FNAF 1, Garden of Bam Bam, Half-Life, Hotline Miami, and that's about it. And I have a few more, but I cannot even play FNAF 1 on Mac, and that game is super simple.
Yeah, I mean, it was released on phones, like, over a decade ago.
Yeah, it's so... I don't want to have our one-shot be bogged down by my absolute hatred of how Mac runs Steam games, but it's atrocious.
Yeah. I mean, either way, if you do have a Mac, you can play one-shot on it, because it does work with it. Either way, just play on PC or a laptop if you have a choice. Do not play on console unless if it's for a second playthrough or it's your only option. If it's your only option, go for it. It's a fantastic game either way. But there is a lot you will lose by, I think, playing it on console version instead of PC.
But I think we've been talking about this for a good while. Do we want to go over some final points?
Yeah, I think so, because I think the game's story, well, we can't go into everything with it. We can go through some of our, like, the overall messages that we saw. I think that just really touched us, because, like, I love the story, and it touched me in a lot of ways I did not expect a small game like this to.
Yeah.
So I think one of my favorite aspects of it is just the relationship with characters in the games you play, and not just one-shot, but, like, any game you play at all. Because, like, your relationship with Nico, and then with the other characters in the story, and then especially with one of the endings that you can get, really makes you think about, like, the connection you have with all the characters of any game you've played, or, like, the characters you've watched in a movie or that you've read from a comic. They aren't real, but you do have a real connection to them, and that's what makes you love them so much.
Yeah,
that's what values them.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a great... I love this game a lot. I think it's very worth it, no matter what the price is. And there are so many messages of, like, having to make hard decisions in order to either protect yourself or protect others, especially in certain endings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think too with the bleak world that the characters are in, just like the value of existence in general, just like with the characters having a bleak outlook on life, and then maybe the brighter outlook that they have with Nico, just the value of, like, that hope, but also to, like, keep going and existing and, like, their lives having meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
And also still those characters, like, having meaning to you yourself, even if they, like, are just in a game. they can feel like more than that because of how they're written, I think, and the way they impact us in our lives, and the way that those games can change us for the better.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. That's such a great theme that I think is in the game. And again, there are a lot of different themes within it, which is still really impressive to me for a 5-hour-ish game.
Yeah, especially a game that started off as freeware as well.
Exactly. It's really, really well done. And when I first went into it, I honestly wasn't expecting much, but this has honestly probably become one of my like top 20 games. It's really good.
Nah, same here. Especially after like replaying through or like rethinking some aspects of the game and its story. I have such a deep love for the game now, and like what the developers accomplished with it.
No, yeah, I also agree.
Yeah. Well, I think that is about a good closing point. I will say again, viewers, you should play this game in any way you can. Try to play on PC, but if you don't have a choice, then you can play on console. But it's a very cheap game, but it is a fantastic experience the whole way through. It's a very short game as well, so if you're bogged down for time, even with like a busy job like me, you'll still have time to play through it and enjoy it, even in one sitting or one shot.
Oh my god, he said the thing!
He said the thing! Oh
He
my
said the
god!
title! Oh my god, he said the thing!
I think I deserve pancakes for that.
True.
Well, I think if you guys enjoyed this episode, maybe take one shot at that like and subscribe button for us.
And make sure you combine your mouse with the subscribe button in a cool puzzle.
Oh yeah. And then maybe to comment if you were interested in playing One Shot now, or if you have played it, and maybe some of your thoughts on the game, without spoilers, obviously. But I think with that, me and Connor, we have been Fetch Quest tonight, and we thank you very much for watching this special episode for the 10th anniversary of One Shot.
Exactly. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, goodbye.